now returning you to the children of Primus.
Welcome, it looks like it's just me. Hello, Spin, are you with us? I see him backstage, but he's frozen. Well, welcome to TeleTraan 2. I don't have any way of bringing up anybody's comments, so... Right. There we go. Hi again, everyone, from over at Children of Promise. Thank you for joining us, Mario. We're still working on transforming the new studio series Devastator. It's a complicated mess, but I'm a complicated mess myself, so I can handle
See if I can get my background.
it. There we go.
Okay, I don't know what background this is, so I think I'm going to take that off because that is
Hey, that's
not what
nice.
I've asked for.
Looks like you're in the office.
I know.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man, this thing has got third party locked together in
Oh.
it. There's like I said, long haul transformed like 4 steps, and he was in robot mode.
Nice.
I'm halfway through turning him into the Devastator part of him, and there are so many tabs that lock him in. Like every movement on him has a tab on it.
Wow.
So there is a lot of engineering in just long haul.
I wonder if the others are going to be like that. Toy Warp Vintage Reviews says, like what you're watching, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps out the children of Primus out on YouTube.
All right, and one of the things, like I wanted to show this earlier, when he's in the truck mode, you have to take his hood down just like a regular ute. What this kind of dump truck is called. It's called a ute.
Okay.
Okay. But when you open it up for his head to pop up, you can see his engine in there.
Nice. Okay. That is cool.
So I thought that was a cool little detail I found when I was transforming him.
No, that is very cool.
All right, so now let's do this box.
Shiva Kobe, welcome. Shiva Kobe says, back from super mega ultra Costco run, shop till I drop. I went to TFCON Toronto in 2006, which worked out well because I stayed with my sister in Ontario. And I think it's almost time for another TFCON Toronto visit, which we will be at between July 11th to July 13th, which is just coming up in a couple weeks. And for this stream, we actually have questions in terms of helping someone new to attending a TFCon, a toy convention, and also things that sometimes are overlooked, even when you have been to a few of them. Mario says,
I have not been to a TFCon, so I will not have any points, but I have been to other toy and game shows.
cool. Well, and I mean, and I know, and in a sense, there are two sides to it because there are some things to remember as a visitor to a convention, but then there's also things to remember as being a part of the convention, especially if you have a table at a convention and a very busy convention.
Can you hear this? Can you hear that?
I heard
It's got
that.
strong ratchets. I mean,
Nice.
strong ratchets.
Nice.
I like it. I'll get along.
Well, graciously, someone I was working with, I asked them to give me 5 questions. They actually gave me 10 questions. And so I'll work those questions between both of us, and also to everyone who's in the chat and whoever else jumps into the stream. Fear of Courage isn't with us this week. It's his wife's birthday. He wasn't with us last week. He was moving this week. This weekend, it's his wife's birthday. So happy birthday to Jess. And I believe he'll be with us next weekend. But then the weekend following, he'll be with us for half the weekend because his brother is also getting married. So it's Fear of Courage has a lot going on, just like all of us. RJ Eagle says, "Hey, hiya gang. How's the gang going? It's been a while. Glad to see everyone, and glad to see you again, RJ. It has been a while."
Oh, that's cool.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, so here is the main torso. So this, let me see if I can separate them again. Nope. Okay. So from here up is long haul, and then this is the trailer part.
Right.
Okay. So when you snapped it on, I was like, oh well, so he's not going to have any pivot.
Oh, nice. Nice.
The piece that he snaps onto is rotating.
That's cool. Oh, I could see some
So he has
nice poses for that.
He has full hips. Awesome.
That is cool.
And there are all kinds of things to line up in this section here. There's tabs in the back, tabs in the front, tabs in the middle. Oh, that doesn't line up. There we go. Click, click, click. Yeah, baby. Yeah, this is definitely not going to be something that you're going to do on the fly. You're just going to go, oh, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So that goes on the foot of that, and that goes into that. Snap, snap, snap.
Ooh, okay, that looks nice. That is a nice looking Devastator.
Click, click. I did all those. I did that one. Did that one. And is it self-explanatory?
Yeah, RG Eagle says, "Oh, sweet. You're the first person I know with this. How are the joints? I did hear some ratcheting. I should be getting mine in a few weeks."
It's tight. It's real tight. The yeah, it's got a lot of strength to it. Like I was trying to get it to where y'all could hear this on the mic.
It was picking.
Maybe if I'm talking, while I'm talking, can you hear? If I'm talking and you can hear it clicking over behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the ratchets are real tight. It's got swivel in the hips. Got that Elvis wiggle.
Now, going for the topic of the stream,
Thick.
here we go.
That's the side view. He's thick.
A how-to of going to TFCON or toy conventions. So of the 10 questions we have, which we also have listed in the description, the first question, best time to get passes from registration. And the thought behind this is that even though most of the cons events start on Saturday, getting your passes on Friday will save you time and give you a chance to get familiar with the venue before the cons get exceedingly busy. Fear, who isn't with us today, sent answers for his that will also include. So his answer is, if you're a dealer, as early as possible. If someone is there on Friday and knows they will also be there early on Saturday, it's best for them to collect all the passes for your whole group and hand them out to each team member as they arrive. And if you're visiting, get your pass online early and show up early. And I would agree with that, because with some conventions, there are people lining up like hours ahead before the door opens, because they want to get in first, see everything that's there ahead, and if there's any figures that they're looking for, they want to be the first ones to grab those.
Now, I have only ever gone to one convention that I had to be there first.
Okay.
I understand it, but to fight that chaos, hell to the no. Hell to the no. I believe it was one of the fanboy expos in Indy that I went to, and I want to say it was one of my animes that. Oh no, it was when I got my my model kits for Evangelion, and the first 100 people got a free one.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, we went up and stayed the night because these model kits were like $112 a piece.
Right. Now, the second question is, should I schedule? And behind that is, TFCon can change one's perception of time. So make sure to check out the schedule posted online to plan your day so that you don't miss anything you wanted to check out. Fear's answer is absolutely. It's really easy to lose track of time and do nothing except wander the dealer room. I love dealer rooms, but that's only part of the experience. Try and pick a couple panels you want to go to. And that I would agree with, because there is a lot that happens at TFCon. And I guess, as other conventions as well, but there's a dealer room, there's all the different deals, toys and everything, but then there's also the panels where there'll be like guest speakers of like voice actors, animation artists, writers, and they'll have like specific times that they'll have their own section of showing their previous works or showing off upcoming work. But you also don't want to miss that when you're at a toy show. So you do have to pay attention to the time. Scrapper.
I like him. I like him a lot. Oh, and he comes with Devastator's gun.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, it's funny. And I mean, it's been so long. I mean, with the original ones, one of the characters had also come with Devastator's gun, but I don't remember who it was.
Bone Crusher.
Okay.
Bone Crusher.
Yeah, since he had the attachment for the hands.
Yep.
And RGE.
No, wait a minute. No, it was Mixmaster. Mixmaster came with Devastator's gun because they snapped onto his hood.
Ah, okay. Wow. Now, RG Eagle says, I agree with Anthony's response, especially if you're looking for something rare and specific and need to survey the landscape as early as possible. And this is true. So now we go over to our third question, exclusives versus FOMO, as fear of missing out. So it is very easy to be dragged into the very nice and limited shiny exclusives at conventions. Just make sure it is something you very much want before purchasing. Take plenty of time to research the product before the con or while waiting in line. Don't let the FOMO Gremlins win. Which Fear says, the thing I do is just pick up one exclusive each year to take home, since it's more about the souvenir for me, and I spend my energy picking which one I'll get. So I do agree with that. Like, don't kind of go crazy going for everything. Do your research beforehand, because they usually tend to mention what the exclusives are going to be, and aim for that exclusive.
Buy it all.
Buy everything.
Buy it all. Just buy it all.
Buy everything. And
That's right.
RJ saying, so I'm assuming this is a big improvement over Combiner Wars Devastator.
I've got something wrong here.
So Mr. Magnus, what RJ was saying is
There we go.
a big improvement over the Combiner Wars Devastator.
Oh yes. Oh yes. 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Nice.
And I like this part of it because it's more.
Nice. But
It's not just dumping it on the hood
yep.
of the guy driving it. Yeah, it's actual construction workers. So yeah, I look for details like that.
Yep. Hook missed. Got a C- on that point. Scavenger got it. Scrapper.
Here's one of the best parts of it though. His head goes in, so you don't see it when you look underneath of him.
Oh,
his head is
nice.
actually in his chest, so it flips up.
Nice. Yeah, not like the original.
Right. Yeah, so far I haven't had to use the instructions on him either. I had to use the instructions on Hook. I did not have to use the instructions on Long Haul or Scrapper. They were all pretty self-explanatory.
Cool.
Now, because there are... How many steps on him? Where's he at? That's only 11 steps, but I don't want to get something wrong and make him not snap onto the body, so I will use the instructions to turn him into the Devastator leg.
Cool.
But yeah, I always like to try and do them on my own first. That's the challenge for me.
Mm.
All right, so let's get into this. There's a little thing right there. Okay.
As we get to question 4, and as we have Mr. O joining us.
What's up? What's up?
So what's up?
What is happening, man?
I'm just gonna get a heads up. I'm probably gonna get a lot of interruptions, so if I put the mic on me, you guys know why.
There you go.
Unfortunately, this is why you don't. This is the problem when you don't have
You don't love us
your
anymore.
own office, you know.
You never talk to us anymore.
It's just shared space.
Very shared, or taken over. Put it that way. So
That is how it goes.
don't get married.
So our questions and answers. Now we're going over to number 4.
We're on 4.
We're already on number 4. We're gonna try to condense it within the hour.
Okay.
And number 4 is how to budget. You will witness a lot of people dropping a lot of money at TFCON, but that doesn't mean you should also. Don't spend more than you're comfortable with and keep track on how much you've been spending. Fear's answer, and now Fear is answering in terms of being a vendor. And he says, I base what I'm spending entirely on what I make off sales. I also try to leave the convention in the green budget-wise. But of course, if I see something day one that I've really been after, I'll just get it right away and hope my sales make up for it, which they usually do. As a visitor coming in, honestly, make a budget for what you want and stick within that budget, because you are going to see a lot of cool things that will either you spend your entire budget on or you end up going over budget. So have a bit of control on that. Well, what say you, Mr.
O? How do I control my budget? Let me see. When the bank account says 0, you can't spend anything. So that's one way of controlling it.
That's one way.
Number 2, food and the mortgage and bills and kids kind of trump a little bit, so you gotta be a little wary of that. And C, I think it's basically what it comes down to is just managing your temptation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you see that you're it's almost like I don't personally gamble, but I've heard this from friends that have gambled that went to casinos and all that. Like what they will do, they'll take $100 with them, then they'll play that $100, and if they win $100, now they got $200. They put that original $100 back into their pocket to
I've heard
use
that.
house money. Yeah, so they use house money. So if they win, lose, or draw, whatever, it's all house money, meaning the casino money there, right? So
Yep.
it doesn't really matter. So how you relate that is basically if I'm going in there with $100 and I see there's one particular item that I really want, versus maybe there's a second or third or fourth item that I can get for $100
Hmm.
versus that one item, I'd rather stop distracting me, Magnus. I'd rather than probably get the three things for the $100 versus the one thing for $100. So when I walk out of there, I feel my temptation's been fulfilled. So I'm not willing to take up more money to go buy more things.
Right.
Did that make sense? Or I don't know. I've been kind of drinking lately, so
No, that makes
Okay.
complete sense, and exactly as you said. I mean, I've only been inside a casino once, and I just went to see it for the experience, and this was years ago. In Windsor, and when you see what happens, you understand where people where people who do go, you go in with like 100 or 200, and that's it. If you win more, you can spend that, but you put aside what you came in with. So kind of the same thing for TFCon. Go in with a certain number and don't try to overspend, because this actually goes into like other forums and conversations. People who are spending their mortgages, spending their food money, overspending to buy certain characters and build up their collection. Meanwhile, like, their bills are not getting paid. So, you have to put the priorities first. And it's a fortunate and unfortunate, but priorities first, hobbies kind of second. So don't spend your rent or mortgage on a figure and now you're homeless. Like, that
Hold
figure's
on.
not going to help you.
Or if you have the ultimate secret weapon, get a guy like Magnus, and you take him with you, and then maybe if you're really nice to him, he might give you one of the triples that he always buys of that one particular item character. Just say, right?
That sounds like a make-a-wish.
Oh, I see why they put an upgrade out for his feet.
You've got to be joking. That's his feet?
That's his feet.
That's
Wow,
That's Bone Crusher's feet. They're tiny.
that's very tiny feet for a guy called Bone Crusher.
like, even
Right.
the original didn't have
I
tiny
mean, it's got to be like that to turn into treads. But yeah, he got little bitty feet.
Wow.
Wow.
You even say when you got big shoes, you know what that means, right?
It
Yeah,
means-
big socks.
Or big feet.
Lots of laces. And RJ Eagle says, also to add, there's always a dealer that has super inflated prices, which you'd always stay far away from. Always know the online prices first before buying an item to be safe. And a few thoughts come into that, and I know, don't want to badmouth any of the vendors, because really it is a buy and sell market. And that exists in every industry, but there are dealers where they know you're searching for a certain item or a certain part of an item, so they're like, well, you have 95% of that character, I've got the 5% you need, so I'll charge whatever I want for you to combine to make that character 100%. But I mean, and that exists online and in trade shows, but there are others where they're like, the character was like 50, I'll charge you 51 and shipping, and you're good. It's not like, well, it was 50, I'll charge you 300. But you got to keep an eye on that. Do your research. Also do the research on the authenticity of the character, which some people will do. They'll go to the table, take a picture, ask their friends online, is this an actual, like, valid character? Is the price worth it? And people will say, go with it. That is something, that helps out.
Okay, so I'm gonna take another spin on that spin.
Mhm.
See what I did there? So here's the thing about TFCon. Okay, I know a lot of us will, we kind of rat on the people that are selling, you know, their toys there or their figures or their legit business, right? So they get rid of their stock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna defend them a bit, right? Because you got to remember, they're paying for a table. They're trucking around Canada because it's not just only one show like they do. They do what's it called Fan Expo, and they go across Canada, right? So there's a lot of time and energy and cost to all that, right? So you have to factor all that in when you do the pricing. Now, here's the beauty part of attending these types of shows. Whatever price sticker that you see on there doesn't mean that's the price you have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
There's always the negotiation, right? And I'll tell you this right now. Majority of the people there that I've encountered and I've purchased Transformers off of them, they all have been pretty cool with me, and I've seen they've been cool with other people as well too, and they've been respectable in a sense of they're there to negotiate. They all know everybody's going to be haggled, okay, and that's the fun part. I think that's the fun part personally, right? And I'll give you one little example. I bought a Sidekill without the engine that you plug under, right, under his belly when you put him in the motorcycle mode, and it's missing. That part was missing, and he basically was selling it for $25. I actually got it for $15, $10 off.
Okay.
Right, and so that's not bad. I think that's a great deal, right? And so I have to give these guys credit. Do you go in there and to negotiate and haggle with them? Sure. But try not to rip them off because, again, they're also making a living as well, too. And so I think that's the best part of a TFCon, that you can go in there and you can do all kinds of negotiations where both parties will win and they're happy. And you also got to remember, too, one of the reasons why they're inflated, because they know you're going to be trying to talk them down. And so that's one of tools, I guess, they will use in order to get to a price where you're happy, they're happy, and everybody walks away happy. So, again, if you're attending TFCon, coming up in Toronto, it's in Mississauga, don't be afraid to negotiate, or don't be afraid to say, hey, if I get 3 figures off of you, can you do something better? And they will. Okay, so don't be afraid to ask and talk to them and communicate and negotiate.
Yeah, and I mean, the time with you said, really, it's, I would say it's 98% of the vendors that are there, all of them are cool. And what's actually interesting, because I mean, us being there doing a live stream, technically we're vendors, and I know we've gotten into like a cool debate last time. Well, we'll save that for another day, but in terms of being vendors, we see both sides of it because there's expenses, there's work and everything that goes into it. And a lot of people have cool stories because we've also run into other DJs for other artists. And I'm like, oh, I never knew you were that DJ. You're now a vendor at TFCon. And it's like, yeah, I'm also a huge Transformers fan. And so, you don't know the history or the backstory of everyone, but there's always that 1 or 2% that some people would be like, yeah, we're cool with everyone. But, there's kind of that one guy, keep an eye on him because his prices are a little bit shifty, but that exists everywhere.
But that 1 or 2 guys not going to make any money at the end of the day. That 1 or 2 guys are going to be leaving their bitching, say, oh, nobody wants to buy anything. They all think they get it for free, right? Well, you know what? Change your attitude and maybe things will work for you, right?
Cool. And
we're missing a leg and an arm. What's going on here?
They haven't been released yet.
So now let's quickly catch up on the comments.
These are all the pieces that have been released of him so far. Hook, Long Haul, Scrapper, and Bone Crusher.
See, I'd rather wait until they come up with a box set, and I just grab all at once.
I'll buy that too. But
you see, and that's my point. That's why you got to bring Bill with you when you go to these TFCons.
Well, RJ Eagle says, what up, Orlati? Good to see you.
What up?
And Mario also says, hello there, Mr. O. And
What's up?
RJ, throwing this over to Mr. Magnus, and we'll quickly get through the comments. Magnus, do you currently have a Devastator on display? Will this Studio Series 1 replace it on the shelf?
No, because the one that I have on the shelf is my Jim Bow oversized with all 3 upgrades on it, and he is massive. He's almost as big as Fan Toys Minosaur.
Nice.
Yeah, he is extremely large, and I can bring him over here if y'all want to see him.
Right.
He's a beast.
No,
Now,
RJ,
this one will get it. This one will definitely get a shelf, but he is nowhere close to this size.
Holy shit! Look how far of a walk did he just make?
now, as he's getting that character, RJ says you don't want to be a Depbot or a Deptron thanks to overspending at the convention. And Shiba Kobe, welcome again, Shiba, and for everyone, like and subscribe. Says I managed to do okay at TFCON 2006 as per the dealer room because my bro who owed me $300 paid me back just before then. Perfect, cashing on the loans. Oh,
Holy!
that is a
Yeah.
devastator.
This one's eyes light up and everything. Now, I'll put this one beside it.
Yes, comparison time.
Oh, look at those buttons.
So, this is
Oh,
Oh,
whoa. There's Devastator, and then there's Devastator. Like,
there's Devastator Junior.
that is crazy. Like, that Devastator is only the leg of the oversized one.
Okay, so this Jim Bow oversize is bigger than Studio Cell Unicron.
frig, man!
Wow.
Holy moly!
Wow. And you know what? It's perfect that you're doing the size comparison because, you know, when you see it online or you see certain things, you're like, okay, the images make it look big, but you don't know until you get it in person or see it at TFCon, where it's like you see some figures and I'm like, ooh, now I see why everyone's running for this.
Now you know.
Yep.
You know.
Now you know.
Right.
RJ Eagle says, great point, spin, authenticity, 100%. Thank you. Shiba Kobe says, I paid like $30 for a loose macaroni and cheese space noodle of death, Galvatron's cannon plus holder, and it was worth every penny. Honestly, it's every time I see certain comments and certain things that I'm like, you know, back in the day, it's like, I got Galvatron, and that's it. Just Galvatron. Macaroni and cheese space noodle of death. That's
There you go.
that's
That's a thing.
Now RJ says, great point, Orlati, haggling and their price, 100%. And RJ says, wow, Studio Series Devastator looks like Jim Bow's son.
Right. Right. But Jim Bow, you know, it's in its name. It's oversized.
Wow.
You know,
I got a question for you,
Go ahead.
Magnus. So, which one's bigger, the Devastator and Combiner War that came in a box set, or that one that you had, or the Studio Series one?
that one I can't answer because my Devastator has never been opened.
Ah, yours is in a box too. See, mine's in a box, and I haven't opened it up yet.
I ordered 2, and one got lost
Surprise.
in the mail.
Oh no.
Ooh.
And so I never got the second one to open it. And by the time I realized, hey, I didn't get 2 of these, it had already doubled in price. And so I wasn't going to pay the late tax. So I've just been waiting. If I see one online at a decent price, I'll pick it up, and then I'll have one out of the box. But people are holding on to them. I've got 2 upgrade kits here for it, for the Combiners Wars.
Yeah,
And I've never opened
Combiner Wars, but just like you, I never opened it up. I'm afraid to open it up. I don't want to open it up. But it's calling me every day because I look at it because it's one of the boxes I actually have on my shelf, right? And it's looking at me. It's like, come play with me, Michael. Combine me. Be the Devastator that you are.
It's like the Batman Beyond episode. And it'd be like, Bruce, how did you know the voices in your head weren't you? It's like, because in my head, I don't call myself Bruce.
Right. Right. But we had somebody talking earlier about why I am so loyal to Big Bad Toy Store is because Big Bad Toy Store has never dropped a delivery.
You know what? I have to agree.
If I've ordered it and it said it's coming, it gets here. And everything. That's why I don't use Hasbro, because Hasbro Pulse is where the Combiners Wars came from.
Mhm.
And they didn't ship them together. They shipped them in 2 different shipments. And one shipment got lost, and they were like, "Oh well, here's some money back." I'm like, "Bitch, I want my product.
Damn right.
I paid for the product." I'm like, "Oh well, here's your money. It'll be deposited in 18 to 24 days." No, no. You let me talk to somebody above you.
I have to agree with you. Like, you know, as a Canadian, I've ordered from Big Bad Toy Store, and they never once failed me. And even when you pay that extra, I don't know, $2 just to put it in that plastic bag or whatever, that clear plastic bag just to protect whatever, never once have they not do that. I've always received everything, whatever I asked for, or even when I did the loot bags and stuff like that. They never failed. I have to give them thumbs up.
And Mario, if you're still in here, something you need to be careful with ordering from Amazon. Amazon shippers will stick a mailer right on the label, right on the front of your box.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a box collector like I am, then your box is ruined. So if you mistakenly not click that, make sure it's shipped in an exterior box, then they will just put a shipping label right on your box and send it to you.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I never. Okay, I never experienced that.
If you go to Transformers Liberated, and you'd have to go way back because it was when the 2-pack of the jets of Skywarp and Thundercracker came out. People who ordered those on Amazon were getting them, and they had a great big shipping label just on the front of the box.
I've seen that in a lot of the Transformers groups, and I mean, I don't think as much now, but back in back a few years ago, a lot of people were complaining and posting their boxes, and we were like, here's my Transformer box, here's an Amazon label right on the box. Why couldn't they have put the box in a box? And everyone's like, well, now my box is worthless because you put a sticker right on. A lot of people were complaining about that.
Yeah, that's wrong, because let's just say you're like buying, regardless if it's a Transformer or a pair of shoes that comes in a box, right? And it's supposed to be like some kind of surprise gift or something.
Surprise gift, but also Porch Pirates, because
that's the other part. I was gonna get there. Like,
okay.
You get a surprise gift, or a Porch Pirate, or even the driver himself. He's gonna know exactly what it is. So
exactly.
yeah, I'm gonna take a picture. It arrived, and I'm gonna take it after, right? So I don't understand why would they not put anything and everything in a box sealed.
You know what?
I have wrote to Big Bad Toy Store about the fact that they have Big Bad Toy Store BBS all over their shipping boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an upgrade.
And when you get a box this big delivered, yeah, it makes people
make sure you're wearing a mask. Sorry,
you better.
Did I say that too loud? Sometimes my inner voice comes out too much.
Well, you know what?
Fortunately for me, I live in a small enough community that everybody, like, I went to high school with my mail lady. She was a year ahead of me. She married a buddy of mine. So, and I know where she lives.
You hear that?
She knows where I live. But they all know that my dad has a big mailbox. His mailbox is like 30 inches deep, and it's probably a foot wide for packages to get delivered. So if anything gets delivered to me, my sisters, or our other neighbor down the hill, Bill Layson, if anything gets delivered that doesn't fit in a standard mailbox, which is what we have, they just take it up there and put it in his. And if it won't fit in that, Dad has an enclosed porch.
Nice.
and they go up and open up the door and set it inside the enclosed porch.
No, interesting.
That's community. That's community.
Yeah,
That's interesting because for us, if something doesn't fit, let's just say in our mailbox or in our community mailbox, what they will do, they will put like a notice in your mailbox and say, pick up your parcel at the closest what would you call it? American
Depot.
like
ours is just post office is what it's called.
Post office. I don't know what you guys call it in the States, but a post office, pick it up your closest. Well, they have the address on it, right? And you go pick it up there, right? So.
Well, depending. I mean, yeah, if it's Canada Post, then the closest post office, if it's UPS or FedEx, whatever their station is, which is closest, which, again, and I mean, I don't want to stray too far away because,
we got questions.
We still got questions. Porch Pirates have upgraded because at this point, there are guys, essentially, the Amazon guys will drive like around white vans, drop off your package. There are other guys that will follow these vans in another white van and be like, oh, that box looks interesting. Let me pull up 30 seconds later, steal that box. And it was like, it was just delivered. It's now stolen.
Hold on. I made this little thing here because I call it the 5-finger discount. And that's what I mean by this.
Yeah.
Okay, people are wondering why am I doing this? It's the 5-finger discount, right?
It's gone. To catch up on the comments, RG Eagle says, agree, Big Bad Toy Store by far is the most reliable customer service. If needed, is excellent. Never had a problem with them, 100%. And also says, plus you get free stickers, which you showed off in a previous segment.
I was going to ask RJ, have you seen the new one? This is the newest one.
Oh, when did they start doing that? I haven't ordered from Big Bag Toy Store for a while, so.
Well, their old sticker was, I used to have one sitting up here.
Okay.
The old one was just Big Bad Toy Store, just in red. I put it on my laptop. I would have to disconnect to get it up high enough, but it just says Big Bad Toy Store in black and red. And so, so this is the new sticker. It came with this order.
Well, if you happen to be watching anybody from Big Bad Toy Store, this is free advertisement for you. So if you guys want to send us some, products to reviews or even some stickers, we'll take it.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
And RJ says, you're correct, Magnus. I got the jet set and the labels right on the package. Think it's Dirge and Ramjet 2-packed.
Okay, maybe it was Dirge and Ramjet that they were putting it on.
Bastards.
And he says, what? No, I haven't seen the new stickers, but I'm assuming they'll be in my next order shipment upcoming. So it's we have a few more questions that we'll try to get within an hour. Question number 6, special guest etiquette. With special guests, which could be voice actors, animators, editors, and these days, content creators like ourselves, it's always good to be respectful and to remember they are people too. For instance, with voice actors, it is considered disrespectful asking them to say something in character or a catchphrase. If you're paying for a recording option, that is different. If it's the line you wanted recorded. Every guest will have a handler/liaison. If you're unsure of any etiquette, you can always ask them. As Fear's answer to that was, I don't ever bother guests unless it's during a panel or I've paid for an autograph. I figure they're going to be burnt out from interacting with people. Now, funny thing to tie in with that is a lot of people are surprised of myself because I'm actually an introvert, but I have an extroverted characteristics. I can be DJing an event with 50 people. I think I've done an event with like almost 2,000 people. So people will say, well, you're a DJ, you're out there and everything. And it's like, that's the extroverted side of me. After a certain amount of time, I need to disconnect from people and recharge. So imagine a voice actor seeing people hour after hour, minute after minute, getting questions asked. At a certain point, some people, it's an overload. Their battery's drained. they need to disconnect and recharge. So Mr. O is making all sorts of funny comments in the background. So
Yep.
what
Yep.
your thoughts, Mr. O, on that?
Well, I went on the last one. We'll give Mr. Magnus his. We got to go back and forth, to be fair.
Okay, so Mr. Magnus, what say
So,
you?
for me, popularity, stardom, fandom, whatever, doesn't matter. I treat you like a human being. I'll say hello, shake your hand. If I am paying for a service, then that's the service I want you to do. If I'm paying for your autograph, I would like for you to sign this where I want you to sign it. If I'm paying for a recording, then I want you to say this phrase, whatever. Really. But I don't treat anybody any different. I've never gushed. Let me put it that way. The closest I've ever had to gushing, and that was just because he asked me, was Peter Cullen. When I made him. Now, Frank, of course, I did Frank. Frank was the hour before Peter in the same booth. So, Frank Welker, right here, as you walked up with whatever you had, I don't know if he's slipped over the edge or whatever. As soon as he saw what you had for him to sign, he just immediately kicked into that voice. Because the guy in front of me was all Scooby-Doo stuff. And so you got to hear Fred and Shaggy and Scooby as he's signing all these things in their voice. And he also does the shark, the big Hanna-Barbera shark.
Wow,
And
yes.
so he also did that guy. And I was like, oh, hell. And then I come up with the Megatron like that, and he went, oh, human. And I was like, oh, shit. Hell yeah, that's cool.
Beautiful.
And, but with Frank, we didn't talk. Everything. Of course, at Peter Cullen's booth, I had 3 things for him to sign. Frank, I just had the one Megatron.
Okay.
At Peter Cullen's, I had the Robotron, my G1, and a piece for my daughter to get signed. And whenever I pulled out that G1 Megatron in the box, he went, oh, this is loved. He said, look at this. And then he talked to me. And as he was talking to me, he slowly went into Optimus Prime mode. And I said the same thing. My father worked every hour of every day. My father figure was Optimus Prime growing up.
Yep.
That's who I wanted. I wanted to be a good person in the eyes of Optimus Prime. Okay, and we talked. That's as close to gushing as it ever was. But I've eaten meals with presidents. I've rode in limousines with president-elects. I've been seated next to talk show hosts on airplanes, and they're just people. Treat them like people.
That's it.
Now, if they invite it, then you can go with it. Or if you're paying for this service, go with it. But don't expect extra. Don't go in looking for extra. Don't see him on the street and be like, hey, man, can you just... No, he don't want to do that. He's out going to go get some ice cream with his girl or something. That's work. He don't want to talk shop then. But if he's there on the clock, now it's time to talk shop. That's what we're here for.
Right, and
That's my opinion. That's my opinion. If you're there to do the service, then don't be offended when somebody asks you to do the service, and don't be afraid to ask them to do the service, as long as you are the one paying them to do it. Don't expect something for free.
And then before Orlati jumps in on it, I was going to say I kind of agree with that. Whereas, like, I've worked with famous artists before, and being beside them, they're just people. So it's like, and it's cool when it's put aside, the artist persona, and they're just talking, and it's like you're just connecting and just talking about life, and they're just people. So just treat them as you would anyone else.
In my youth, I've always been a bigger guy. I was a power lifter. That was our big thing, was muscle building, and one of the coaches for our lineman camp, our football lineman camp at Belden Lineman Camp, His name was VA. I'm not sure what his real name was, but he was the head of security for one of the theaters around here. It was called Robert Stadium. And he would hire all of us young, bigger guys to run the gates at the concerts, so we could catch crowd surfers and usher them over.
Mm.
So, I mean, I've rubbed shoulders with high society, with big rock stars and country stars and pop stars, and then met them because we're the security force. They're just people, and they want to be treated like people until they don't want to be treated like people. Until they get to that point, they just want to shake your hand and have a beer.
Yep.
Yeah, I did shots with Dave Mustaine at a bar in Henderson, Kentucky.
And Mr. O, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to say this. If you're at TFCON and you're there to participate as a guest, whatever, okay? That's the reason why you're there, is to interact with people and to talk to them and to do the voice and do all these things that people are expecting you to do because you are in a place called TFCON and you're supposed to act like it. That's why you're there. I'm not talking about when you're off the property with your family, doing whatever on your own time. Yeah, I agree with you guys, but we're talking about the question that Spin had asked or proposed to everybody here. Guys or girls, if you're famous and you're participating at TFCon, then participate. Do not get all sulky and start doing this too many people. I can't do this. Then don't do it then, because that's what pisses me off. Okay, is that you get these actors or actors, they show up to these things and they're like, I can't be bothered to be here but I'm doing you a favor, so here, let me sign your. Oh, fuck you. Okay. Participate. That's why you're there. That's where you're getting paid to be there on top of it as well too. So don't stop. Have a good time. Be like Frank. Okay? Be that guy. Whenever a person, like if I was in his shoes, I'd be so appreciative that I got a lineup of people that want to come see me. Who the F am I? Like, who am I? Right? Yeah, I was the voice of Megatron, but still, I got all these people from all ages that have been waiting in line for such a long time that they're here to see me. Man, I'm going to be doing Megatron's voice. I'm going to be doing Scooby-Doo voice. I'm going to do everything to please these people because they waited in line to come and see me. Okay? So, Frank, Colin, the rest of them, thank you for doing that. The ones that don't do that, don't show up. Don't waste your time. Don't waste my time. Okay? It's like Spin and I, we're going to be at TFCon. We're going to be doing this podcast. We want to interview people, right? I'm a little bit of an introvert as well, too, just like Spin. But guess what? We're there for a reason. So what am I going to do? We're going to have a podcast and not interview anybody? Or ask people to come and sit down and talk to us? Oh, I can't be bothered. I can't. Even though we're doing a podcast, I can't be bothered to talk to people because you know who I am. Come on, guys. Seriously. If you're going to be at TFCon, you're a special guest, it's because you're there for a reason. Make people happy. Have a good time. Be special. Okay, because I'm going to give you one little example. I went to Vegas to watch UFC. This was Brock Lesnar was actually just joined UFC. He's not going to wrestle in that pay-per-view that we went to. And we were literally the next people to go see Brock Lesnar and have a conversation with him, get his autograph and everything, right? And they cut off the line. And we're like, holy shit, we flew all the way from Toronto and now we're going to miss this guy? Like, oh, wow, like, he actually heard that and he said, wait a minute, you guys flew from Toronto? He goes, yeah, come on over. We went over, we thanked him, we wished him all the best, we loved him, we told him we're big fans of him in WWE, and we hope that, you do the greatest and everything and all that kind of, and he signed everything, and we left there happy. That's why you are there, is to make people happy. If you don't want to make anybody happy because you're a fucking miserable, that's at the time mean you're miserable, then don't show up.
And you know what?
All that other stuff, sorry, my last part, all that other stuff about, him being alone or he's on his off time, he's low time, yeah, I agree with all that. Don't bother him. But at the same time, too, you are a famous person. You choose to be in the public eye, okay? Be prepared for the public to come and talk to you and say, hey, man, thank you so much. And that's it. That's all. That's my little rant. That's my little murder prime.
Well, I'm going to say, and tying into what you said, and it brings it reminds me of two people, Chuck D from Public Enemy, who I've met, and again, he's just a regular person. He's that type of person. He'll do a huge concert with everyone. At the end of it, he's just there chilling with everyone, shaking hands, and
Yeah.
that's what you remember. Where it's just like, oh my gosh, like I love this artist, and he's here just shaking my hands and saying, "How are you doing?" But he also has that memory where he could meet you today and be like, "Hey, Mr. O." 15 years later, you go to his concert and be like, "Mr. O from Toronto, I remember you," and you're just like, "Ooh, okay."
That'd be fucking awesome, man.
That's
Right?
that's the kind of mindset that Chuck D has. On the flip side, there's William Shatner, where never met him personally, but years ago he was that famous person that hated his audience, hated doing fans things and stuff.
But
Eventually,
he loved the pay.
but he tied in after because he's just like, you know what? My career still exists because of the fans. All these generations of shows exist because of my contribution, because of the fans. He now embraces the fans because he realizes his career exists because of the fans. So you
And I
can't go hating them.
And I can tell you this, it wasn't because of TJ Hooker.
Not because of TJ Hooker. Um, the RJ says, just to add, it is improper etiquette to sneak in a random selfie with a guest without their acknowledgement. I'm assuming that's a bad thing. And sometimes it depends on the guest. There are some, I mean, like a Ryan Reynolds, for instance, he will come and probably like do a selfie with you. As opposed, there are some artists where it's just like, don't come near me. But, you're there at a convention, everyone's there to see you. Have that respect for it. It goes both ways. Shiba Kobe's throwing a moon. Is that good night?
Good night.
And RJ Eagle says, that's true, Lottie. The guests are not there to make people sad. So we still have a few questions. See if we can quickly get through them. Number 7, custom class. Friday mornings is the TFCON custom class, and it's a very good introduction to customizing Transformers. It's also a good place to meet new people during the shared activity. The finished figures are pretty cool also. Fear's answer was, I've never taken part in one just because it's a lot of cash up front. I wish they announced what the actual figure you're making was earlier too, so I could make the choice to attend or not based on what it was. Unfortunately, he's not here this evening. It's Jess's birthday, so happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
And because I was going to ask him, I remember about 2 years ago, Keeper of Toast, who has another YouTube channel who does customizations, the two of them collabed where Fear had given him a character, and Keeper of Toast had customized it. So hopefully, maybe next week, he'll get a chance to get more details on that. And next week we are going to have Big Angry Trev from Australia as a guest once again.
You angry?
Big Angry, he's angry.
I was angry.
Now, number 8, what to bring if you don't have a hotel.
Hey, hold on. Magnus and I didn't get to answer that question.
Yeah, you know what? Go ahead. What's your answer for the custom classes?
So the custom, I would have to agree with Fear or Courage. Boy. What's it called? Yeah, if I was TFCon, that's probably one thing that I would do on the schedule. I would say, hey, we're doing a custom, and this is the transformer or the figure that we're doing the custom on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would probably attract more participant, because if it's especially like, for example, like one of my favorite Transformers is obviously Jazz, right? I mentioned this many times before. And if they were going to do some kind of custom class or whatever cases, then I'd be like, you know what? They're doing Jazz. I think I would participate and maybe break open one of my Jazz figures, right? Or even if they have the figure there itself that they're giving us to customize, I think that'd be a better marketing point, or for to get people to participate a little bit more. And I think they'll probably be willing to pay that little extra money because they're also getting tools to help customize the figure that they're going to be working on as well. It's not like you're bringing your own paintbrush and markers, I would assume, right? So yeah, I think they should really announce what figure they're going to be working on. Over to you, Magnus.
I've never participated, so I have no comment.
No,
I've never done a
no, but
I've
it's
never done a customization.
right. But the point of the question is that TFCon doesn't really announce like what is the figure that they're going to be working on. Do you
No,
think they
no,
should be doing
definitely
that
they
or not
should.
doing that?
Yes,
Okay.
I think they should, most definitely. But you know, if I'm going to pay money to go and do something, I don't want to get there and I'm redoing a wheelie.
Yeah.
No, RJ says, I would love to attend a painting and dry brushing class to add weathering to some figures.
But they should also mention what they're going to be doing too, like what RJ just said. If they're going to be doing weathering or they're going to be doing like G2 colors or something like that, I think that will attract more people. Because I would love to do some weathering on some of my Transformers.
Well, it's funny actually. And let's see if I can reach this figure. It's one of the Dollarama figures. My daughter did as a birthday present like a few years ago, and she didn't tell me that she got it. And essentially, it's one of the dollar store Transformers. And let me see if I can turn off the back.
It's transparent.
Ah, boy, there we go. There. So, yeah. So essentially, it's just like one of the dollar store Transformers, but she did like a whole bunch of customization to it, where she created like the ground for it to sit on, did like all the wear and tear on the figure itself. And it's like, it's really impressive. Yeah, like I was really impressed when I saw that. So I'm like, it's amazing. So now we get over to number 8. And just before number 8, actually his name's escaped me. It's one of those things with ages, where it's just like sometimes a name escapes you, even though you spoke to the person earlier. So I'll come back to it.
Omega 3, not Omega Prime.
Not Omega Prime.
Or Omega Supreme is Omega 3 for adults over 40.
There you go. So number 8, what to bring if you don't have a hotel room some kind of bag would be recommended. Maybe some reusable shopping bags and a change of clothing to freshen up. And fears, which is funny because we're just like, that's a whole other conversation. It could easily go left.
BO, baby.
But you know what? It's think about TFCon the previous year, because
I'll be right back and I'll show you what to bring. Hold on.
oh boy. So as Orlati is getting that, Fear's answer was a big bag you can carry your loot in, and a backpack or saddle bag for your food and drinks, which you can also bring. Keep your wallet directly on your person so it can't get stolen. Also bring lots of cash. Most dealers only take cash, and the ATM will have a line and have fees. So I know with what you're running with, it ties in with the TFCon last year where the air conditioning broke. So it's essentially you're there just hot and sweaty the entire day. So have extra clothing just in case. And I think Mr. O is going to have an endorsement here for a moment.
I think this is a product that you definitely need to bring. We're not being paid sponsor of Axe, but I'm telling you right now, to stay fresh, okay, bring one of these because I did. Because holy moly, okay, it was hot. And when I say hot, I mean hot, okay?
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't TFCon's fault. It's not their fault, but unfortunately, you see, this is the shitty part, okay? Because I work in the event industry as well, right? Regardless of whoever does something that shouldn't be done or whatever case is, it all goes back to the show, and then also goes back to the event that's being held at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because it was freaking hot those past 3 days. TFCON got a lot of slack because of that, even though it wasn't under their control. It goes back to the Hilton, but yet it's still their show, right? And unfortunately, like I said, it goes back to them. So I there was times that I needed to get up, walk away, go to my secret washroom just to pat myself down, dry myself up, and I literally had this in my car, and I made sure that I brought it in me, and I freshened myself up so I smelled okay. Because I'm telling you, man, doesn't matter if it's a Transformer gathering. It doesn't matter what gathering it is. Okay. Well, you got some heavy BO in there, man. Some heavy BO. It does not make the place fun. Okay. And it's hard to do interviews after as well too, because now you're breathing and talking throughout your nose. I mean, throughout your mouth, right? So I'm not trying to offend anybody. Okay, so please do not take offense. Again, it was an uncontrollable situation that happened. The only thing what you can control is like what's been said. Bring some stuff or whatever. And like what I did, I had this in my car. Went into my washroom, freshened myself up, made sure that I smell fresh, and then come back and did what I had to do. Okay, that's what I can control, and you can do the same thing too.
Now, before I get over to Mr. Magnus, usually with that hotel, my only complaint, and it's fully understandable, is as a dealer, we're going into the convention room and the event like 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning before everything. So they have the air conditioner on overload. So the middle of July, you're walking in with a winter jacket because the AC is like on super max. But by the time the dealer room opens and there's hundreds of people coming in, the temperature levels out. So it makes sense. But as a dealer, it's like you are freezing before that crowd comes in. The still tying with the topic, as Fear said, bring a bag, bring in like saddles, and everything. If you have a hotel room, the Hilton is a hotel which they have the convention at, but say for people out of town, if you want to try to save money, find a hotel maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes away from the main convention. They may have better rates. Therefore, you have a bit of extra cash to, for whatever you're spending that day. Because hotels tend to overcharge for their rooms at that event. So that's just an extra tip. Over to you, Mr. Magnus.
Can't say for Transformers cons because I have not been able to go to any of them other than the two fanboy expos. And in both of those, we went in, got our stuff, and got out because there was no vendor room. Fanboys are not really cons. There's a couple of people there with booths, but it's nothing like going to an actual convention. But I go to a lot of cons, anime cons, comic book cons, video game cons. As far as keeping yourself fresh, that is a big thing, especially at conventions that have LARPing. 90% of the time, LARPing is done outdoors. Now, LARPing is where they fight with the foam swords.
Oh, okay.
They have the foam swords and shields and stuff. Most hotels will not allow them to do that inside due to insurance reasons. So when you go to a convention like we went to 2 weeks ago, where it's 110 degrees outside, and then you're outside exerting yourself for 15 minutes, and you come back in and you look like somebody held you by the ankles and dipped you in a pool. Go take care of yourself. Now, nobody wants to smell that. Nobody wants you coming through a line and wiping your sweaty ass off on my cosplay or my outfit. Yes, have some decency about yourself. And that's what I would say about that. Like I said, go and find your own little place to wash off. Most most conventions are held in a place where they have large bathrooms, large enough you can go in there and undress, change clothes, refresh, go out. If you don't, go to your own car.
No,
My other suggestion is this, and this is probably something to Colin, and it's not that I'm trying to make business here, but if you find that your event is outgrowing the venue that you're at, maybe, just maybe, you might have to look at a bigger location to avoid those kind of problems. I'm not saying to come to the convention center, right? But what I am saying is that I know. Listen, it's been historically there. You know, everybody knows it off by heart. It's a great location. It's a great place. I'm not talking shit about the place. Okay. All I'm just saying is that if the event is becoming larger than the space, then I strongly suggest you look for a bigger space.
yeah,
And that would definitely help out not just only the BO, okay? I know we're joking about that, but it is part of it, okay? But it also gives a little bit of room, a little bit more space, a little bit more air to circulate, okay? And it doesn't feel tight that you're constantly bumping into people or you got to fight over somebody to look at a figure or something like that, right? And I think this show is, since from COVID until now, it's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger again, right? So that's my only little advice that I would give to Colin and the TFCON crew. If they can maybe look at a bigger location, if it fits the need, meaning that they know already how many vendors they have, they know already how many people are going to participate or are going to be coming in, and if they anticipate more people, then I strongly suggest getting a bigger space, and that will literally alleviate all the other stuff that we're just talking about right now. Okay, it will not be as hot, it will not be as non-fresh, it will not be stale, and you're able to move around comfortably as well. But the one thing they do great there at TFCon, which I'm gonna have to give them credit, there is plenty of water. The water stations that they have, it's always refilled. And let's be honest, Ben, you and I, we've taken some of those water
jugs.
containers,
Yep.
jugs, right? And we kept it to ourselves, and then we exchanged it for another one, and when another one got filled up again. So the one good thing that they are doing, at least they are keeping the place hydrated in that aspect. Over to you.
Now, it's funny you mentioned that because I realized I skipped question 5. Just before that, RJ says, that's a great job. Absolutely on the customization. Very nice. The stand is really cool. Spin, you can learn some tips. And I will mention that to her. And a big thank you. Number 5, and actually just before going to that, RJ actually has been visiting TFCon from the early stages, and they initially, I think he said the first one started in like the Hamilton Coliseum, or kind of like a community center, and it's grown from that. And fortunately, when Colin sat down and spoke with us, the very early ones, it was kind of like started in a garage, to help out friends and stuff. So it's gone from like this garage to like a small convention center to now being in Mississauga to it's got the growing pains. It does need to upgrade to a larger space, and it's not an insult to anything. It's just a part of business. That's all it
Bigger
is.
and better,
It's
right?
just a part of business, so it's a good thing.
And you know what? Just to prove your point, Fan Expo started in the North Building. I think it was room 104 or something like that. It was just one of our meeting rooms.
Wow.
Okay. It was 2 guys that were collecting comic books, and they wanted people to share in the interest. And then look at Fan Expo today.
Yeah.
It is the biggest Comic-Con, I guess you could say, in North America. Well, I want to say North America because we have San Diego. Obviously, that's like the king of the king, right? But it is the biggest in Canada, right? And we're just up there as well too. I say we're probably maybe third or second around there, okay? But it started in one small little meeting room,
Mm-hmm.
and then look at it today. It takes 2 huge buildings, and it's freaking phenomenal. And I think Colin and his crews are doing a phenomenal job,
Oh yeah.
right? And if they're getting bigger and bigger, I understand there's peaks and valleys. Okay, there's gonna be times that it's gonna be freaking awesome, and you're gonna have tons of people, and then you're gonna have a little bit of a dip, okay, into that little valley part. I get that,
Mm-hmm.
but that's where you gotta find that right setting, that right amount of space, or you may go back and forth from one event, like one venue to another. Who knows, right? But that's something just to prove your point even more, Michael.
Yeah, and I mean everything that we're discussing, it's not TFCon specific. I mean we relate it to TFCon because we're a part of it, or we're vendors in
Very
it.
happy.
But
Yeah.
this goes for any toy convention or even any convention in general. And again, as you said, a lot of these started off where it's like started off in a community-based room, a little community center or something. Now, in any city that you're in, think of the biggest, like, say, baseball, football stadium. Think of the amount of people that can fit, and then think of the amount of people that are lined up outside to get into these events. That's what Fan Expo looks like in downtown Toronto. Like the amount of people in the event, and then there's still a lineup of people all the way around the building. So it is a huge event. The time with the jug of water, and I realize I missed question 5. Should I bring snacks and food? Making sure you keep hydrated and fed is important, but please remember you are in a public space, so try to avoid messy foods and common allergens. Always make sure to wash your hands and clean up before going back to the con areas and touching products. Fear's answer: bring a refillable water bottle. In terms of food, the thing I do is make a con chow. It's a bunch of fresh vegetables like carrots, cherry, tomatoes, mushrooms, cucumber, chopped up in a Ziploc bag. I just slowly eat those throughout the day instead of stopping for food. It keeps me fed, unlike chips and other snacks, keeps me feeling good throughout the day. And the name I couldn't remember earlier was Richard, who is the artist who, he's been on here a few times. He actually has been doing a lot of cons, and he has a booth all weekend at Gotham Central in Mississauga. So me and him were messaging each other today, and
Go visit him.
go visit him. He's an amazing artist, and he brought up that point too of things that you overlook: water and snacks, and being fed, because you are at a convention, lots of people, lots of heat, lots of walking around. You don't want to pass out from a heat stroke. In case the AC is not working, or if it is, stay hydrated. That is a very important thing. And as you mentioned, Mr. O, like TFCon, like their staff, the hotel staff, they're on top of like jugs of water, of ice water. So you always look out to stay hydrated.
Over to Magnus, let him start.
Yes.
I'm sorry, guys. I was in something else. I got some shit going on over here.
Food. We're talking about food and drinks,
Repeat
man.
the question. Oh yes,
Right,
the
okay.
food. I did recall that. So at our conventions, con food is very expensive. I don't know what it's like up there. I don't even know if they serve food there. And because in Owensboro, the convention center has a ban on food trucks, so you cannot bring a food truck to the convention center. So you can't bring food in and sell food because they sell food. What I found out this year was they don't sell coffee. Our convention center does not sell coffee. So I'm going to look at possibly having a coffee truck next year, because none of the convention staff that stays there can get coffee without leaving the premises.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's something that the convention center doesn't sell, I'm not taking a revenue from them.
This is
That's
cool.
crazy, man.
So we're going to see if we found a
major
gray area there.
revenue.
But what we do is, because you can't have a food truck there, but they can't stop you from bringing your own food. You just can't bring food inside the convention center. So my truck has a big camper shell on it, and we line it with coolers, and we have sodas and waters and ice, everything in one cooler, and then we have lunch meat, sandwich stuff, chips, and stuff that won't melt in the heat because, like I said, it's 112 degrees when we have our convention in Owensboro. So like Little Debbie cakes, nothing with chocolate, but like oatmeal cream pies, things like that. And that's all in the back of the truck. And anytime somebody gets hungry or gets the munchies or just needs a drink, they just go out to my truck, pop the back of it, or they'll send a text, hey, anybody want to go get a sandwich? And we'll all go out there, get a sandwich, and we stand in the shade of the truck and eat.
No, you have to. You have to.
An order of chicken strips with some lukewarm fries and a drink at our convention center is $18.
Oh, okay. That's about $58 for us, but yeah, that's
I'm talking about 18,000.
that's a bank loan.
And see, last year they have this thing in Owensboro called Friday After 5. And Friday After 5 is it's a concert and beer garden, and all the food trucks are able to come in.
Yes.
And one of the hotels hosted it that weekend, the same weekend as the convention, or as OMGCon last year. And so Friday, there were food trucks, and there was a concert, and there was a beer garden, and Friday and Saturday convention was wicked.
Nice.
Because everybody's going outside and they're coming back and eating on the steps of the convention center and everything, with pulled pork sandwiches and street tacos and anything you can think of. Because we had all 19 food trucks wrapped around the block.
Nice.
Owensboro's a big food truck place. I've never explained that before. Well, we actually have a website that you can find out where everybody's at.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's 19 or 20 food trucks throughout Owensboro, and they're all good. They're all good.
No, what I like is the food trucks where they go that extra step, and they take the old city transport buses and convert those into food trucks. And it's like those ones are really nice because one, they can accommodate more customers, but it just, in terms of the customization they do on the outside of it, it just looks so amazing.
Ours
I
are
agree.
basically old National Linens vans that have had a window cut in the side of them.
Hey, whatever works.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's right. And I'm going to throw a shout out to my boys over at Hillbilly Barbecue. If you get a chance to try it, go try it. Go try it. And I suggest the brisket meatloaf sandwich is out of this world.
Just the word brisket that already sold it.
Well,
When you live in the big
they
city,
smoke
you
a
get-
brisket, and before it gets done, they put it in a grinder and grind it into meat to hamburger, and then they make a meatloaf out of it, and then they cut it into sections and put it on a bun, and yeah, it's absolute fire. They put like 2 onion rings and then put a little barbecue sauce on it and put a lid on it.
We gotta
Yeah,
make a way down, Mike.
But
Y'all come down for what? Once we get out of this crazy shit that's going on at the borders, y'all come down, just stay with me for a weekend, and we're gonna eat. I'll promise you
whole
that.
other stream. We got 2 questions left. The whole border thing is a whole other stream.
Yeah, I know, but you know what?
Yeah.
The border is not that crazy, to be honest with you, because like I said, like a few weeks ago, more than a few weeks ago, I went to Cali for work training, and I had no issues at the border.
It
Okay,
depends. on
I'm
which
not going to
border.
point too many obvious things out here, Spin.
Yeah.
Or Lottie, you're white.
Oye, tú sabes yo hablo español también, soy latino.
See,
Okay,
you don't talk that at the border. You know, it's like that Chris Rock thing of, like, how not to upset
Hold on, but wait,
officers.
hold on.
So
I'll
I
get
can
your
see
ass
at the
kicked by
border.
the police.
You know,
Hold on,
like,
that thing.
hello,
wait.
hello,
Hold on.
officer. Is everything okay today?
Wait,
As opposed
wait,
to like, yo, what's up, officer?
wait,
Pulling me over
wait,
for.
wait. I actually went with two other people. Okay, one was Asian and another one was Sri Lankan. Okay, with a last name, um,
No, give
that
it
is
a last.
that is very common in the Islamic world, and we're all traveling all together. Okay, and we went through security. Great, there was no issues, no problems, or nothing, and we're actually joking about that. Okay, this is why I was telling my other buddy there that's from Sri Lanka. I said, "Don't worry, just stand next to me, okay? I'll act like the crazy Mexican, right? Ask you for the $450,000 that Biden was giving for free, and then we'll sneak you by, right?" So what happens? But to be honest with you, we didn't have any issues. I have to admit, hold on, the Canadian side and the American side, there was no issues. We told them exactly what we're doing. We gave them proof and everything. And they're like, okay, no problem. Go on ahead and enjoy yourself. So that's our experience between an Asian and a Sri Lankan and a Canadian, which a heritage of Italian and Spanish. So
It works for some, and I've had
I'm just saying, man.
I've had
I'm-
experiences, so
Okay.
I will leave it at that.
Okay.
No,
Can I
RG,
answer that question? Let me ask you a question about the food.
what's the question?
Well, let me answer the question to your
Okay.
question. Okay.
Mm.
Yes, bring food. If you are a vendor, okay, bring food. I totally agree with that. Don't bring junk food,
Hmm.
okay, because that's gonna crash you because you're gonna get your highs and then you're gonna crash after, right? Obviously, stay hydrated makes a lot of sense. The cool thing what TFCon does, just to answer your question, Bill. Yes, it is at the Hilton. They have a restaurant in there. It is a little bit pricey. However, they do a special menu, which is actually Transformer base. Was named like Transformer machine kind of names of food or whatever, right? So which is pretty cool, and it is at a discounted rate. So they do that, which is great. There is a Starbucks in there, which is a little bit overpriced because of Starbucks.
Hmm.
But the other thing is, well, too, what you can do, you can also Uber, which there was a participant, a former participant that did Uber and that got us food, and I do appreciate that. But then at the same time, too, in order to return that good deed that person did, I bought beers for everybody as well, right? Because at the Starbucks they sell the beers and the wine and all that stuff, right? So we're sitting there having some wraps and beers, and it was actually really good, right? But I do recommend if you are a vendor or somebody that's participating at the convention, at TFCon, bring some food and bring some drinks.
Hmm.
When I say drinks, I'm not talking about like whiskey and all that. That's for after. But yeah, no, I agree. I'm saying that's for after the party. What's it called? But I do strongly recommend that because, again, if we have a similar situation what happened last year where the AC goes off,
Hmm.
okay, it does get really hot in there,
Hmm.
okay, and that you need to stay hydrated because otherwise there is a potential of someone fainting, and then paramedics have to come.
Hmm.
I'm not saying it's going to ruin the event, but it will put a halt, and that's not a good, and that's not a cool thing. You don't want to see somebody going through something like that, right? So, bring food, bring water, do what Bill does, keep everything in the car if you need to, or you can bring it on there because there is no restriction. So, I do highly recommend that.
Now we have 2 questions left. RJ Eagle says we need to do a TFCon
Yes.
tailgate party in the parking lot.
Yes,
that.
I agree. RJ, you got to come this year.
And it says that's right, Aladi, no Hennessy. Turn
JB's.
big hip hop party. And again, the name escapes me. Orlati, you remember him, and he kind of reconnected us and connected us to the convention and everything. He kind of has his own political issues with the organization, but anytime he's able to fly through the radar, he'll come say hi to us, and like our other vendors who are also going to be with us, like Andrew, Neil, and slowly we're going to promote them because they also have a lot of cool toys they'll be saying. But you remember who I'm talking about? He showed up with
Drew?
a whole bag of cheeseburgers because he's like, you guys are on the floor all day as vendors, working. Here's a bunch of food. And he doesn't tell anyone he's doing this. He doesn't ask for any repayment because
Yeah.
he used to be a vendor himself. And he's like, here's some food. You guys, make sure you're fed. And here you go. And it's like, we're always thankful for him doing that.
And that's the beauty about these TFCons is that it's such a beautiful community,
Mhm.
right? That everybody is willing to look after each other. I'm sure if I didn't know Bill, let's just say, and I was at an event that he's participating at, and let's just say I don't know, I lost my wallet or I didn't have enough money to go buy water or something like that. I'm sure if I happen to see them, at their truck drinking a whole bunch of water and say, "Hey, Bill, do you mind if I can grab a bottle of water? I forgot my wallet or something like that." You tell him he's going to say no.
When we're out there fixing stuff, just people walking by, we're like, "Hey, you need a sandwich? Need something to drink?"
See?
People we don't even know, it's just, "Hey, it's free here."
That's it. You know what? Magnus has a good heart. Many of the people who attend the cons have a good heart. It's that's how it's supposed to be. And quickly, our two last questions. Although the last one's not really a question. What types of panels will be on the schedule? There will be a large variety of panels ranging in topics from guest content, in-depth lore, deconstructions to toy-centric topics. Fear's answer is there's usually a question and answer with all the guests, fan panels about lore, a live script reading with the voice actors, and some fans, there's usually a game show on Saturday night where you win prizes. What say you, Mr. Magnus?
You would start with me. Repeat the question.
What types of panels will be on the schedule?
I'm shutting this fucking screen. All right. Now you have my complete undivided attention.
There we go. Yeah,
panels.
Again,
Again, at TFCons, I wouldn't know what they are because I've never been to one. The panels that we have at the conventions that I go to are massive, and they're, very diverse, from stuff that people came up with to guest speakers coming in talking about their own animes, their own comics and stuff. This year was our 20-year anniversary at OMGCon, and we had over 300 panelists. It was packed.
wow.
All 3 days. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was really, really good time. Yeah, I love panels, and you should be able to find anything that you're curious about in a panel. That's what I rate a convention on. Now, when you go to bigger conventions like Gen Con, anybody in the United States that's watching, you should do Gen Con once. Just so that you can say, I've been to Gen Con. Okay. Gen Con is awesome, and it's a video game. It's a video game board game convention. It's in Indianapolis, Indiana. So it's central to the United States. You get there, it's, a couple of days. The farther out east and west you go, or it's a few hours, depending on where you're at central. We are not Gen Con people. I found that out when we went.
Okay.
Because I like schedule things, but we didn't know that at Gen Con you had to schedule everything. So I don't know if TFCons are this way, to where if you want to go into this panel, you have to apply to be into it 2 months in advance.
No.
At Gen Con, it's so big that they have to limit how many seats. Okay, there's 75 seats in this room for this panel. So the first 75 people that sign up for it get to go to it. Now, when the panel opens, a line forms for the people that are pre-rigged into it, and a line forms for the people that are hoping somebody doesn't make it.
Right. Yeah, that's more like Fan Expo for us.
And since we didn't know this when we went, we were not able to do anything except go into the vendors hall for the entire 3 days that we were there.
Got it.
Okay, so if you're really wanting to do something, I suggest pre-registering to go into it. and everything if it's offered. If not, then great. That means you get to go and walk into it. You should be able to, like I said, you should be able to find a panel on something that you're interested in. And I suggest going to panels. Panels will give you a broader scope on things that you didn't know.
Mhm.
And a lot of the panels that I go to, at the end of it, they'll do like a question and answer, and they'll give out prizes and stuff. But I really enjoy panels. But I like intelligence. I like to learn things.
Yes.
And fan fiction stuff blows my mind. I absolutely love to hear somebody's personal take on things. And that is one of the things that my group was talking about. We're going to do a panel next year. Next year is D&D. The theme for OMG Con is Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
So we're talking about doing a cosplay of all of the original from the cartoon, doing a cosplay of that group. But we're also talking about doing a trial, a D&D trial, and put main characters throughout D&D history on trial for some villainy. Heroes going to get charged, and that's going to be a panel that we're going to do.
Oh, that's like a Picard and Q type of situation. I like that. I like that. Mr. O, what say you?
Okay, so last year I had the pleasure, because it was a pleasure, it wasn't a privilege, it was actually a pleasure that I was actually able to participate on a panel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was freaking awesome. It was fun, right? I personally believe that everybody that attends whatever show it is, whatever con or I don't know, event, whatever it is that they have panels, I strongly I suggest you go and participate, especially the ones that you really want to see. Like, I missed a Frank and Colin one because we were doing our own thing, right? But if we weren't doing that, I would definitely be sitting in there and watching and participating in it and asking questions, all kinds and all that, because this is the only time that you're able to ask those kind of questions to a particular person that you were interested in. And what I mean by interested in, like, again, we all love Frank and Colin. We know Frank and Peter Collin. We love them, okay? Unfortunately, I missed that panel. And I really wish that I went to that panel, because at least I could sit there, listen to his story. Regardless, maybe I've heard it before, maybe he's telling something new again, but I could have got on the mic and had asked him a question that I always want to ask, right? And so now I kind of regret that, okay? And so I expect people, or I hope for people, to participate in those things. Regardless if it's a cosplay competition, regardless if it's a speaker that's talking to you about, hey, how to budget for your your TFCON visit, or if it's like Peter Collin or any other special guests that are doing it, or even when we did it, right? It was all the podcasters were there to answer questions and everything, right? But I strongly suggest that people go and do it. I think personally, that's the best part of going to these kind of events. I've been to many other events that has nothing to do with toys, let's just say, like for business, okay? And those panels I really look forward to, because that's where you learn something that you may not have known.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also get to participate and ask questions. You can't ask a vendor those questions because they may not know that answer. And it's not just going buying toys, it's actually going there to be involved in the whole entire environment of what it's being offered. And that's how you have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I don't think I am. But you're there to experience the whole thing, not just one part of it. Over to you guys.
Well, actually, as you're saying that, it reminds me of Music Week Canada, which would it have been? It's like late 90s, early 2000, that Professor D and I attended. And, you know, kind of the same thing, a convention, different seminars and panels, and you get to, there'll be like music producers, artists and stuff that, you know, you all love and you know, listen to and stuff. And you get a chance to sit in and listen to them, and then at the end of what they're doing they'll give you the question and answers. Because it's been like 20 something years. I don't remember who the artist, or I believe the producer was. He flipped it in a whole different way, which I actually respected, because, you know, within his 1 hour segment that you like get to be a part of that experience, he's like, I'm so and so, you know my music, you know what I've done, you know why you're here. I'm going to turn it into like 50 minutes of questions and answers, as opposed to 50 minutes of me telling who I am to you guys, because you already know who I am. So for like almost that entire hour, everyone was getting a chance to ask questions and learn, you know, from his experience and everything. This does tie into Toy Warp. Being going to conventions and stuff too, getting autographs and everything, and it ties into budgets. If you're going to see a guest speaker and you want, say, a picture, you want a voice recording and stuff and everything, there are prices you have to budget for, because I think for some of them it's almost like, you know, you're not just meeting that artist, it's the artist experience. So, you know, it's one price to shake their hand. There's another fee to take a picture with them. There's another fee to get them to do a voice recording and stuff. So research that ahead of time, you know, before going to the convention. So the last thing to tie in before we end
Hold
it.
on, can I finish that one point that you just made?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. This is also an opportunity for, especially for us old geezers, to act silly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sure majority of us are pretty professional majority of the time, especially when we're at work for 8 hours, sometimes maybe 10 hours, right? This whole point of going to any kind of event is to kind of decompress, you know, reminisce, go through nostalgic, bring your kids, let them know, hey man, this is what I grew up with, you know, do a little bit of bonding, and at the same time, just act a little silly.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when I say silly, I'm talking about just having some plain old fun. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And it's funny, you know.
I know you're trying to get us past this, or Lottie. I don't know if you watched last week's episode. So the convention was last weekend, our 20-year anniversary, and we did tarot cards.
Right.
Because we did the primary set, and the artwork on it was the main characters from all 20 of our previous conventions. So after the day one, when you got your badge, you got 3 tarot cards, or you could just go to the vendor's hall and buy the original first 20 cards for $50. Or you could do this game where you had to go and ask questions at different places in the con, and they would put a stamp on a card for you, and you got to draw a card so you could complete your set. Well, they didn't think about the fact that people are going to pull duplicates. So at Con Ops, at the beginning of Saturday, somebody asked, where do we go to trade our duplicates? And they're like, what do you mean trade your duplicates? They're like, well, yesterday I got 3 of the same cards that I got when I signed up. And so Amanda, not my fiance, the president of OMGCon, she turned and looked at me and she was like, Bill, would you mind taking care of this? Now, I am not a member of staff. I've just been with them for 16 years. So I get to sit in all these meetings and shit like this. And she was like, Bill, you know cards and stuff. You mind taking care of that? And I was like, no, sure. I said, do we want to keep the mystery part of it going? Now, I was wearing this white button-up shirt that had different airplanes all over. It had a great big biplane on the chest and jets and stuff on the backside of it. Like that. And she's like, what do you mean? And I stood up and I just held my arms out like this. And I said, tell them to look for the guy in the plain white shirt. I have
I
never
got
had.
it. I got it. It
I
didn't
have
go over.
never
I got
had
it.
as much fun at a convention in my life. These people hunting me down and running right past me because they're looking for somebody in just a white shirt. And this thing's
Wait.
got so
A
many flames on it
plain
that
white shirt.
Yeah.
yeah. But in their mind, they're looking for a white shirt. And I actually wore it on so I could show everybody what it was. And yeah, dude, it was hilarious. And Saturday, a few people have found me and figured it out, but there was like 200 posts on the OMGCon Discord. Where's the guy with the white shirt? We can't find the guy with the white shirt, and nobody would write it out. You just got to find him. He looks like a regular con goer. He doesn't. He's just got a regular badge on. He doesn't have a con op shirt or anything. We know that he's in a white shirt.
No. He's in a
And
plain
they-
white shirt.
yes, but they can't write that. They can't write that. So there's a big dance on Saturday night. They call it the Not a Rave because a rave is illegal in Owensboro. So it's the Not Rave dance party. And
What is this, Footloose?
yeah, kind of. Well, welcome to the Bible Belt. You'll understand if you come down here. We have more churches in Owensboro than we have liquor stores.
God bless.
Yeah. So we get on the elevator on the 3rd floor, and we get on there, and there's like 6 or 8 other people on here. There's a couple of furries and some other convention people, and we stop at the 2nd floor, and some people from Con Ops get on. Like me and Amanda are standing there. I got my arm around her, like that, and one of the guys in the back goes, "Hey, Con Ops dude, can you give us a hint about the guy in the white shirt?" Like that, and I just turned my head like a turret to look at him like that, and I go, "You're looking for the guy in the plain white shirt?" And he's like, "Yeah, we've been looking for him for hours." And Amanda's going like this and pointing like that, and the looks on their face is just priceless. This is plain white shirt. And I reach in my pocket, I pull out all these cards. I'm like, "Let's get off this elevator and we'll figure this out." So
love it.
Sunday, it had gotten out. So I wore the same shirt. I took it home. Like I said, we were going to go home and get fresh. So I went and threw it in the laundry. We got dressed for the rave, came back, got home from the rave, put that in the dryer, put that on all nice and fresh for the next day. Same shirt. People are hunting my ass down, hunting me down in droves. I mean, like groups hunting me down. And me and Amanda spent the day just hiding. Just we go out to the vendor room because you can see the 2nd floor stairway has these big windows up there, and
That's
we'd be
awesome.
down there and people are looking, oh, there he is right there, and we'd wave like that, and then they come down the stairs and we go over to the service elevator and we go up to the 3rd floor and we wave at them from the 3rd floor.
That's awesome. I love it.
Oh, we had a ball, had an absolute ball.
I love it.
Yeah, get involved.
Get involved. And you know what?
Get involved in your convention.
Mhm.
I am not a standard person. I'm not a staff. I am not a board member. I have nothing to do with the plannings. But I know Owensboro, and I have a lot of freaking connections. They figured this out. OMGCon did. And just from the few friends that I have that are on the staff. And when they hit a roadblock, when there's something going on, the city's blocking them with something, they call me. Who do we need to contact? Okay, you need to contact this person and this person and this person. Because our convention hall, the convention center, hates us.
Jeez.
Because we're all a bunch of freaks. Because it's an anime convention, so it's people dressed in anime cosplays. It's furries. It's imagination. And this is a pretty serious place. The convention center is all real uppy schnuppy. We don't want that kind of crap here. That's why they charge $18 for chicken strips.
Mm.
They want you to have to leave to go and eat. They don't care about getting your money. They already got their money from the convention staff to hold it here. But it's the only place that we have.
And it's And
You
it's
know,
funny when you mentioned,
never mind the fact that we probably bring in a couple of $1 million worth of revenue for the city every year in just parking validation, hotel rooms, the convention center. The our numbers this year was 950,000 badges
oh,
over over the 3-day weekend.
that's a lot.
That's a lot of people coming into Owensboro and eating, drinking, sleeping, buying stuff.
Hmm.
Why wouldn't you?
That is a lot. That's crazy. But you know,
We lost O.
we lost though. I think he'll be back, but that's a lot of politics, and you know what? In terms of the cosplay and everything, that ties back into make sure that you're hydrated and fed, because on top of like your regular clothes, a lot of those costumes like that will heat you up, and you need to stay hydrated for the day.
Oh, especially a furry. Do you know what a furry is?
Yeah,
These people that are dressed head to toe and they got a great big wolf head or a fox head or some head on, and they're dressed in fur.
like
Could you imagine my fat ass, my 300 pounds wrapped in a fur coat in 112 degrees? No,
yeah, that's a
no.
heat stroke waiting to happen.
I would have an air conditioner unit tapped into this thing somewhere.
No, RJ Eagle says, so true to Orlati. TFCon is definitely an escape into great memories and better times. That day, I don't think about bills, just my lovely childhood passion at a time when there were no worries. And I fully agree with that. So now the last thing, which
There he is.
there he is. I'm not sure, Mr. Orlati, did you hear a comment from RJ?
No, you know what happened is that it's so weird whenever anybody uses a microwave in my house, which is like my dining room is next to the kitchen, right? It just screws up the internet.
You gotta get you gotta go. What's the word I'm looking for? Gotta
Gotta
go.
go direct.
Gotta go direct.
Childreofprimus does not condone the use of dial-up internet. Have they not got fiber up there in Canada yet?
I'm on
See,
fiber.
well, once y'all become the 51st state, we'll get the fiber up
Well,
there
we
for
got fiber, we got DSL, we got all that stuff. But what happened is that when you're on a wireless connection, when the microwave goes off, especially when it doesn't matter, you know what? You could be anywhere and anywhere. If you got a microwave near your wireless, what's called internet, like your modem, it will screw up the signal.
Wired connection. Wi-Fi is only for certain things. I stay wired because for
for
that.
making popcorn.
Mhm.
Well, my wife, my beautiful wife likes to do this stuff, especially when I'm streaming near the end, right?
Careful.
Yeah.
Careful. So last point before we round up for the
Hold
evening.
on, go to RJ. I didn't get to see RJ stuff, man. 'Cause he
Oh
mentioned
yes.
me.
So he did say, so true, Orlati. TFCon is definitely an escape into great memories and better times. That day, I don't think about bills, just my lovely childhood passion at a time when there were no worries.
I expect RJ to come this year. I want him to be on our podcast. RJ, there's a challenge.
I mentioned that to him earlier today. He has to come and hang out. For
Now, this year we've got the wedding.
Mhm.
Next year, Mr. Magnus is going to make an appearance.
Ooh. Dun, 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 dun. Now our last.
I might have to fire up the smoker beforehand, and we'll go ahead and do that tailgate party while we're up there because I'll be in my truck.
Mm,
I'll bring y'all some good barbecue.
I'm already tasting it. Already tasting it.
Fuck, I'm hungry now.
Yeah, I know. So our last point, because it's not really a question, is charity auction. A unique event to TFCon Toronto is its annual charity where all proceeds go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Now Anthony's answer to that was another thing I've never managed to actually go to since it happens too early for me to have made money off of my sales. But if you have a budget to spend, it's a great place to give money and a good cause, and also to get some good deals on unique items. I quickly looked it up, and it says Make-A-Wish Foundation, nonprofit organization founded in the United States. Their headquarters are in Arizona. Headquarters are located in Phoenix, Arizona, and operates through its 58 chapters throughout the United States, and also has 50 other countries through 40 international affiliates. One keynote is John Cena holds the title for the most wishes
let's say that.
granted by a single individual at over 650 wishes.
Yep, I was
Nice.
actually going to say that. I was actually going to say the only reason why I know about Make-A-Wish is because of John Cena. 'Cause, yes, I am a wrestling fan, and that's the only reason why I know about Make-A-Wish. Is it a great non-profit program? Hell yes. Because what it really does, it gives a child, and I really hate saying this, a child that doesn't have that much time left, a wish. And that wish could be anything. Anything. It could be going fishing, or going to, for us, Wonderland or Disneyland, or going camping, or going to NASA headquarters or something like that. Whatever wish that's possible that they're able to do, they will do that for them. And John Cena is obviously a big deal because there's a lot of kids that wanted to meet him, and he made time for those kids. So if you have any available funds to participate in this Make-A-Wish program, I say do it, because you're giving a child that one last wish that they're able to enjoy their last moment of time on this earth. And it's, again, it's a thank you, beautiful. It's thank you. It Yes, you can come give me a hug. And this is what it's all about. Okay, now go to bed before you get in trouble. So the point is, like, it's for the kids, and I'm not. I don't know how else to explain it. It's such a beautiful program for these beautiful souls, and if you can help out, please do so.
And actually, since you know more about John Cena Toy Warp, Vintage Reviews hiding in the comments says, how does John Cena meet any of the kids?
Are you trying to be funny? You can't see me. All right.
I guess that's part of the John Cena thing because I don't understand it.
He has this gimmick. Part of his gimmick is that he has this saying that you can't see me. He does this, right? So.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. And that's where Toy Warp is trying to be funny.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I don't watch wrestling, so I tell you a funny story. We were talking about, rubbing elbows with famous people. When we went to the Motley Crue concert, we bought floor seats, so we got the VIP pass, and so we have our own bar and our own bathroom. And when Alice Cooper finished his set, there was going to be like a 20-minute break while they took all of Alice Cooper's stuff off the stage, and Motley Crue started taking the stage for the main show. So everybody broke to go to the bathrooms and everything. Well, I wasn't going to go in that mad rush. So I sat there and waited, and everything. Went over to the smoking station back where I still smoked a cigarette, and then I went. And so I get to the bar and I order me a drink, and I'm waiting in line to use the bathroom, and this guy comes walking in, and everybody's freaking out. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I don't recognize him. He's got this little cowboy hat on, big, great big, built like a brick shit house. And I was like, must be a sports player or something. Must be football, way he's dressed. Like that. So he's coming around, everybody's coming up to him and taking selfies like that, and he gets over to where we're all at, and he's just, walking along. He's a star, so he's just enjoying being a star. And so people are getting selfies and pictures and everything. And he gets up to me and he goes, so you want a selfie too? And I said, don't do me no good. I don't know who you are. Like that. And he goes, what? And I said, I have no idea who you are. Like, and the guy behind me is like, okay, and he goes, well, then I want a selfie with you. And he pulls out his phone and puts his
Nice.
arm around me and takes a picture of us and walks off. And he's a wrestler, and I can never remember his name, but he is Vince Neil's best friend. If you say the name, I will know it.
Macho Man?
No. He's not that big. This guy's built like a linebacker. He's broad-shouldered. And he had this little. He had this like too small for his head wicker cowboy hat on, and he was in like a blue jean jacket with the sleeves cut off. Michaels. His name is Michaels.
Oh, Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, but he's not built like he's not built like a linebacker.
He's big. I mean, he's physically impressive.
Yeah, like he's okay. He's toned.
Yes, he's extremely toned. Yeah. No, this guy, but yeah, so that's who it was. And when I got back to the seats, because whenever I still didn't know who he was. The guy was like, "You don't know who Shawn Michaels is?" And I said, "No." I said, "Who is he?" He goes, "He's a wrestler. He's a very famous wrestler, and he's Vince Neil's best friend." And I was like, "Okay." He just a dude in cowboy hat to me. But I'm on that motherfucker's Instagram, and y'all ain't.
That's funny. That's funny.
That is funny. So Toy Orb says my middle son was obsessed with John Cena. That's the only reason I know about that. You can't see me bit.
Even though I can still see you.
Cool. Well, a lot of fun question and answers for this segment. So this goes for TFCon, goes for any toy convention or even any convention in general. One note that was also to add is if you need anything, remember to ask one of the staff members wearing purple or yellow TFCon shirts. They are there to help. They will be able to point you in the right direction for anything throughout that weekend. And I mean, this applies to any convention. Look out for the staff members that are there to assist the goers.
Listen, you missed an important feature at TFCon.
To visit the Children of Primus booth, where we'll be live streaming on the Saturday and possibly the Sunday as well.
That is 100% correct. This time, we're actually...
When is TFCon?
July 11th to 13th.
Yeah.
Well, 11th is the Friday, but it's 12 to 13.
So, this time, I think we got a better setup.
Mm-hmm.
We got 2 mics.
Mm-hmm.
One for the guests and one for myself.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have some really good camera angles. I think we're going to do a better job this time around. Because we're like Tony Stark. We always learn from our mistakes and make things better.
Exactly.
Okay? But you got to come and talk to us.
Yes.
We want you to come and sit down and tell us your whole experience at TFCon. That's the reason why we're there.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know. The inquirer mind wants to know.
Tell us what figures you found out. You found, your experience and we'll also go over some of the questions, just make sure, did you have a good time at TFCon and where are you from? Because we've met some really cool people who've driven in, flown in from like different parts of Canada and different parts of the US to be at TFCon. So we've met a lot of cool people over the years.
What panel did you participate and enjoy?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like we really want to sit there and talk to you guys and girls. Okay, participate. Come and be silly with us because I know I'm gonna be silly.
Oh yes.
Right? Because that's the whole point why we're there. Like there's a time to be serious and there's a time to be silly, and I'm gonna be silly that day because I want to have fun.
That's
I
it.
want to have fun with Spin. I know Magnus gonna participate a little bit as well too when he has a chance, and so other people as well. And we just want to be silly. We want to, relive a little bit of our youth. We want to see all the cool stuff that you were able to get or missed out on, because I know I missed out on a few things and shit to be me, right? But I'm still looking for it,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe, just maybe, I'm gonna announce it right now because I kind of said it last stream, but Finn didn't post it. It might be a special guest. Don't know yet.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
There's things happening in the background, you know, between work, getting a new air conditioner, because, you know, 100-degree weather, no AC in the house, so you're averaging 90 degrees in the house, but that's a different story. But work
What does it have to do with us talking about the special guest?
We're putting it all together.
Okay.
Stuff is happening in the background while we still have to be.
I just gotta talk to his agent.
Okay.
His special agent.
Special agent.
Yes. Just saying.
Ominous.
And Mag is like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Look at his face, like he's just looking at these two conductors.
If you're getting a voice actor, you got to spoil privately to me. Both of you have my personal phone number so that I can mail you some shit.
Wait. Let's wrap it up so I can ask him a question. How about that?
There we go. So, like and subscribe. Thank you for you guys hanging out, because I know it's you know, a couple well past our usual time. Thank you for everyone in the comments. Toy Warp, RJ Eagle, and Sheba Kobe, and where is Adam Chandler and Mario. Always thank you guys, and always like our videos and share it out to other people. You know, it's just us having fun and just being a part of the experience. So as we're going to sign off for the evening, as we like to say, to all are one.
All are one.
We now return you to the children of Primus.